Stop. What if you had the power to plant an idea in someone else's mind without them even realizing it? Imagine that everything you think you've decided for yourself was actually planted in your mind by someone else. Would you dare continue listening if you knew that your greatest certainties may never have belonged to you? There's a vertigo that few tolerate, the possibility of being merely the echo of another's will. This isn't a video for passive viewers. This is a confession, and also a warning. Because today you're going to cross the line. You're going to learn how an idea is planted in someone's mind, and how to make that person feel it so much theirs, so intimate that they'll never suspect it was someone else who planted it. This isn't circus hypnosis or cheap manipulation. We're talking about techniques as old as power itself: reverse decision, anchoring, and planted suggestion. Instruments that have decided wars, manipulated multitudes, and destroyed empires from the shadows. Invisible but lethal instruments. Have you ever felt inexplicably drawn to a decision you previously rejected? Have you found yourself defending an idea you swore you wouldn't share? Perhaps it wasn't yours. Perhaps someone, silently, had already written your destiny. Here's the formula. First, sow doubt. Make the person question the very root of their beliefs. Then offer them a way out, but never the obvious one. The reverse decision is the art of guiding the other person to choose what you want, believing it was their rebellion. Anchor that choice to a powerful emotion, to a memory that burns in their mind. Finally, plant the suggestion where it hurts. Don't impose it. Let it germinate in the silence, in the empty space between their thoughts. What if they've already done it to you? What if, right now, your mind isn't as free as you think? Don't continue if you're looking for comfort. Here, the truth cuts short, and knowledge is always a double-edged sword. It all begins with a subtle fracture in the other's reality. It's not shouted, it's not forced, it's whispered. A comment, a seemingly innocent question, the sowing of a subtle doubt. Do you really think that decision was yours? The mind, programmed to defend its autonomy, reacts with a mixture of discomfort and curiosity. Here, the manipulator knows how to wait. The reverse decision is not a frontal blow, but a dance of mirrors. You offer the other the illusion of choice, but every path you open directs them exactly where you want them to go. The key is in the structure. First, provoke an internal contradiction. Have the person vehemently defend an idea, and then introduce a nuance that forces them to question it. The goal isn't to win the argument, but to plant in their mind the feeling that there's a crack in their certainty. Silence then becomes your ally. Don't fill the void, let it breathe. Every second the other person's mind broods over doubt, the seed grows. This is where anchoring comes in. Everything a human being decides is tied, invisibly but firmly, to past emotions. Remember, don't argue with pure logic. Invoke an emotionally charged memory, a memory that has left a scar. Relate the new idea to that emotion. For example, if you want someone to see the risk in a situation, anchor your suggestion to a fear they've previously felt. That way, when the person thinks about the topic, their body will react before their reason. Anchoring is the rope that ties the idea to the unconscious. But the planted suggestion is missing. This is the art of leaving a phrase, a gesture, an image at the precise moment when the mind is open, that small crack behind doubt and emotional anchoring. Don't make it obvious. A planted suggestion hides in the everyday, in what seems accidental. Perhaps, deep down, you always knew what was best for you. The mind, thirsty for control, takes that phrase and turns it into its own mantra. The final trick is to disappear, to let the idea germinate in solitude, unsupervised, until the person wakes up one day firmly believing that this was always their decision. Don't underestimate the power of these mechanisms. Don't underestimate the danger of mastering them. Because anyone who learns to instill ideas in others inevitably faces the most uncomfortable question. What if someone else has already done it to me? But here's the inconvenient truth. Planting an idea in someone's mind isn't an instantaneous act, nor is it clean. It's a gradual, almost surgical process, where the manipulator must become an emotional mirror. Do you know why most people fail when trying to influence others? Because they try to impose their will, rather than dissolving themselves into the other person's mind. True power lies in silence, in patient observation, in the art of listening to what the other person doesn't even dare to say to themselves. The reverse decision is an elegant trap. You give the person two paths, both carefully designed for them to choose what you want. But here's the secret: you never make it obvious. The trap is in the packaging of freedom. Want someone to accept a proposal? Present them with an even less attractive alternative, or make them feel that rebellion is the smarter option, when in fact you'd already planned for it from the start. The mind, hungry for autonomy, will jump on the decision believing it has escaped control. when in reality it has only taken the next step in your game. Anchoring, on the other hand, requires emotional precision. It's not enough to relate an idea to a memory. You need to identify the person's dominant emotion and tie it to your suggestion. Is it fear, pride, or a desire to belong? Find that resonant chord and gently touch it. For example, if someone fears loneliness, link your idea to the promise of companionship or acceptance. If the person seeks power, let your suggestion shine as a unique opportunity for control. That way, every time they face a decision, emotion will be the compass that guides them where you want them to go. And the planted suggestion, that's the supreme art. Here, manipulation disguises itself as destiny. A phrase thrown into the air, a gesture, a seemingly irrelevant story, can remain floating in the other person's mind. Don't demand immediate acceptance. Plant the seed in the fertile ground of the subconscious and wait. The person will begin to see signs, connect the dots, and find proof that the idea was born within them. This is where manipulation transforms reality. The victim becomes an accomplice, and the manipulator disappears from the scene, leaving behind an idea that germinates on its own. And you? How many of your decisions truly belong to you? How many ideas in your mind are genuine, and how many were planted by others, during silent nights or in glances you thought were harmless? Manipulation isn't just a tool of power. It's also a terrifying mirror. Because, by learning to plant ideas in others, you force yourself to look at your own cracks, to recognize how fragile the illusion of free will is. At this point, you may feel the uncomfortable weight of suspicion. Perhaps you wonder if you are the architect of your mind or simply the host of other people's ideas. But herein lies the vertigo and the liberation. Understanding manipulation is the first step to deactivating its effects. Knowledge is not just a shield, it's also a sword. Now that you know how reverse decision, anchoring, and planted suggestion work, the question is inevitable. What will you do with this power? Will you use it to defend yourself, to influence, or perhaps to confront all the beliefs you've accepted without question? Remember, the one who masters these techniques isn't the one who shouts the loudest, or the one who imposes himself the most. It's the one who knows how to move in the shadows, who learns to listen to the cracks in the certainties of others and in his own. Effective manipulation is never loud or obvious. It's a subtle flow of ideas, emotions, and silences. It's knowing when to remain silent so the other can speak, when to sow so the other can reap, when to retreat so the other believes he's walking alone. The true manipulator doesn't need recognition. His greatest triumph is to disappear from the memory of his prey, leaving behind only an intuition, an echo, a suspicion that can never be confirmed. But beware, every sword has a double edge. Awakening to the mechanism of influence also means seeing your own chains. By learning to install ideas, you become more sensitive to the ones others try to plant in you. You begin to notice the invisible threads in everyday conversations, in speeches, in glances. The price of this knowledge is the loss of innocence, the comfort of believing that everything you think belongs to you. However, only those who accept this discomfort can aspire to true mental freedom. Don't be content to be a spectator of your own mind. Examine your certainties, question your impulses, trace the origin of your desires. This way, you'll discover how many of your decisions were truly yours, and how many were silently implanted in you by hands you never saw. Do you dare to discover who you are when you free yourself from implanted ideas? Behind every thought, behind every decision, there is a sacred space. The moment you choose to be the master of your mind or a slave to the ideas of others. Don't let your life be written by other people's voices. Make knowledge your tool and conscience your only guide. Here the lesson ends, but the real challenge begins. Looking within and finally deciding who you want to be. Are you ready to reclaim control of your own mind?